Hey, Chick Chatters, we're back with another episode of Match Me Abroad, episode 4. And we're starting off with Stanika, and she is planning outfits for her next date. What was it with Stanika that you were gonna...
I have a clip for you to watch.
Okay.
Something that I know that we both missed on the first watch. And I have to say, I'm really excited for this episode because I rewatched it this morning and it was fantastic. Probably the best episode so far. So get ready, find the clip, turn up the volume, and we'll show you guys while Anne is watching it and we can get her live reaction.
My passport of the Tampon was the hat.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I listened to that and just thought about that like it was normal. Like, it's just a normal thing to wrap your tampons up with your passport.
She didn't even put it with her tampons. She wrapped it in pads. Like, she was ripping, like, glue from a pad off of her passport.
Extra protection.
I don't know. Why would you do that? I mean, she's probably scared someone's going to steal her passport or something because she's an American in a different country.
Why wouldn't you just keep it on you in your purse? You know?
That's what when I was in Ireland, I just always kept it with me.
Yeah. I mean, I usually, when I travel with my passport, it's always just with me, either on my person, like in a satchel bag, or a fanny pack, or in my purse. That's why she's my favorite.
I know.
She does these subtle acts of kindness.
She does. She does. She's so good on the rewatch. She's really shining.
Okay.
So she's getting ready to go on a road trip with Nina to go on her second date.
And her tampon passport.
With her tampon passport. That's why she had to get it all out of there.
And Nina and her translator are coming on this date because Nina can speak Arabic, but there's different slangs.
Right. You know? Like dialects and slangs.
Yeah.
But on the way there, Nina and Stanika are kind of like going over the Nordine date, and Stanika lets her know that her and Nordine are still texting and that she really likes Nordine, so it's hard for her to really even like be open about going on this date, but she's open to the process, but she does really like Nordine, so she lets her know that. And then Nina tells her about Salah. She basically just says that he's good looking. He owns a restaurant, so Stanika thinks like that he can probably cook. And then she says that he's adventurous, but he doesn't have very good English, so hence the translator is going to join them. Because they're going to his family's restaurant, Stanika kind of puts it together that they're probably going to see his family there during this first date. And this is only Stanika's like second first date ever. So to meet the family already is kind of crazy for her. Stanika asks her, like, who meets the family on a first date? And Nina goes, Arabs.
You don't meet a family on the first date. Arabs.
I think that's how it pretty much closes off. I think they all sit down at the restaurant, and it's quite a lot of people on this date. It's going to be Stanika and the translator and the matchmaker and the date. But we'll see later too that some other people will join. But then we go to Natalie.
Yes, who's practicing her dancing in the mirror because it's all part of Juan's process.
She is. She's doing her wiggle again in the mirror. And then she goes, no.
But Juan's process is to just give her the exact opposite of whatever her mom wants. Juan is not about it. He's giving her the exact opposite.
Yeah, so, it seems like with this date, he's really going for like the physical attraction to happen rather than an intellectual attraction or anything else because he cannot speak any English. So it's really just about these two being attracted to each other physically. Stewart is pretty good looking. He's a personal trainer. He's like definitely buff. He's got tattoos. And yeah, Natalie says it's like the complete opposite of what her mom would choose for her.
His name is Stewart, but she keeps mispronouncing it and she keeps going Caesar, Seawater, and it just reminded me of you.
It's a hard one to get.
Just try.
She had a hard time understanding him, like his attempts at English throughout the whole date. So there was a lot of like really funny pieces about that. And they had like a weird translation moment go on. I think he tried to like show his phone to her and say a word, but it translated as like a bad word. It bleeped it out on the show, but I couldn't tell what they were saying.
It sounded like butt shots.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I don't know. I don't. That's what it seemed like. I was trying to catch it as they were saying it, but that's what it sounded like.
Right.
Because it bleeped out. I know the first word is like butt something.
Okay. I knew the second word was shots. So I think together we figured it out.
It is shots.
Yeah, I knew the second word was shots.
Because those are surgical, like you can plump up your butt that way.
Right. And I think he was probably maybe asking more. Do you want to do more shots? Because they were doing shots. Yeah. So, but what she did, which I thought was smart, is she knew it was a translation error from whatever app they were using. And she, I think, actually wrote out shots and then translated it back to him in his language. And then he understood it and they had like a giggle together. So it was kind of funny. But again, like no way you can really connect intellectually, just kind of, you have to kind of live in the moment, which is one's, I think, goal for Natalie right now in life. And like immediately too, as soon as they meet, he wants to like hold her hand and be physical with her, and she asks not to, hold hands and stuff right away.
Yeah.
So yeah, the things they are learning about each other, they're not exactly vibing, but they're giving it a shot. They're trying. Natalie ends up, I think, feeling like a little buzzed. Because he asked, like, do you want to go for a walk or something, or do you want to stay here? And she does this whole, I'm feeling a little buzzed thing. So he ends up taking her on the back of his motorcycle and driving her kind of like around the city. And then eventually they end up back at the hotel. And she invites him up to go to the pool.
But yeah, after that, we go to Harold, who is disappointed by his date, and he feels like he should have been able to read her better, which made me feel really sad for him because that's definitely something that people with autism struggle with. And that's probably the thing they struggle with the most is just reading people and catching a feel off of people without having to directly ask them. Yeah, so he visits Katerina to get some feedback on his date. And she says he looks like he just came back from Hawaii. And
yes, but yeah, she's kind of a little stern in this meeting almost. She doesn't have that same kind of welcoming feel that she usually has. She does give him a hug, but as she's going in to hug him, that's when she says that, you look like you came from Hawaii. And she gives him kind of this big-eyed, scary look. And then she sits down and she says that she has a headache. So not a good start.
Well, she made it seem like she got the headache from him.
That's what I mean.
This girl seemed to have called her back and probably ripped her a new one for putting her on this date. And because she's paying for this service too, you have to think. So whatever games that Katerina and Juan want to play with their people, they are kind of wasting some of their people's time just to make a message. And I think she should have mainly had a conversation directly with Harold that what is realistic for him. And instead of maybe subjecting this girl to an awkward date. You got to feel for her on the other side too. It goes both ways, of course. Like you don't, it's hard. It's hard both ways. And you got to be able to acknowledge that.
Yeah. Either way though, I think again, Katerina has kind of a similar style to Juan in that she likes to give someone what they think they want or what they're asking for at first, sort of knowing that it's not going to work out. So I think she's annoyed. She's definitely stern with him. But I don't think she had any big expectations for these dates anyways. I think she just hoped maybe he'd perform, a little bit better. And not himself too, but I did think in the beginning that he was being really hard on himself too. So I think overall, Katerina says that she wants to help Harold to see what he needs rather than what he wants. So they do some soul searching for a few minutes to see what kinds of things that Harold wants in a relationship other than the attractive qualities.
That is my favorite line of the whole thing, is when Harold says, I chase after Barbie, but I'm not Ken. I'm Harold.
Yeah. It is cute.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Precious.
She says, Katerina says, Harold needs to find somebody ultimately that appreciates him and admires his art. I liked that she asked Harold how he felt when she received the piece of art that he made for him, because I think that that's important to him. And I think she knows that. I mean, I think she is a good matchmaker. And Harold didn't feel great, it seems like. It wasn't a horrible experience for him, but like I said last time, she kind of like folded it up and didn't acknowledge it again after that. So yeah, Katerina says somebody needs to admire him, somebody needs to appreciate him, and also, I'm sorry, but you need a makeover.
Yeah, and honestly, sometimes people just need to hear that. One of the things that we do learn in this whole sequence is that Harold confesses that a woman used him to build things for her and another one used him for sex.
Yeah. We know Harold's not a virgin. He's not new to this. He's true to this.
And now we know.
That's what he was talking about in his date too, that like he wants to have a sexual relationship, but he also wants an intellectual relationship. And I think he's had obviously a mixture of too much of both in his past relationships. So yeah, I think he should have left it at that last time.
It just caught me off guard.
I think Harold's wrapped up. So after that, we move on to Mark Chad. And he's day 2 in Morocco, and he's like, I'm feeling energized. I don't have any jet lag. I'm ready to go. But he talks a little bit more right away that he's realizing after the conversation with the hotel woman that he probably should have done a little bit more research about the place that he's in. So he's all the while he's kind of, I think this is like a narration, he's looking for Nina out in public, and they meet each other for the first time and they hug. And they both tell each other like, oh, we're breaking all these laws right now. So yeah, that's kind of a Mark's rough start.
Yeah, that's what was funny to me is one of the first things she says to him is, oh, we just broke like 3 laws. And I'm like, why don't you say these things to Stanika? Are y'all not breaking any laws when you're running around with Stanika? I don't understand. Do they just not show that? It's just so strange to me that it seems like one person is so much more restricted than the other, and they're in the same place with the same matchmaker. The only thing I can think of is when he's on these dates, yeah, it's because he's a guy seeking out women, and maybe it's just different there based on gender and customs and norms and stuff. But, like even just walking down the streets and stuff, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm not an expert either. I'm just kind of guessing, but I think you're right. I think the norms are different there for single women who are from there than single men who are from there. And what I mean is like single women who are from there probably can't be seen hugging, kissing, touching a man. Whereas if a man is single and is seen hugging, kissing, touching a woman, it's probably frowned upon, but not in the same way. So I feel like with Stanika, she's a single woman from America. So essentially she can go there and do about as much as she wants to with a man, as long as the man is okay with it, whereas Mark as an American can't really go over there where she's embedded in like their culture and their life. And if he's hugging, kissing on her in the streets, when he leaves out, she's going to be looked at really differently than Nordine will be when Stanika leaves, I think. So Chad gets to Nina. They meet on the streets. They hug. They break some laws. And he says to her right away, "You didn't tell me that it was like this. You didn't tell me that it was this bad." And she pretty much tells him, oh, well, it gets worse because women here actually expect for men to, pay all the bills as well. And he's just really having a meltdown at this point about what he just signed up to do and picking Morocco in general. He obviously, again, had no idea what he was signing up for. And part of me starts to think at this point, he's already in Morocco. He's face to face with his matchmaker. And although I love Nina, she's kind of funny in this because she didn't tell him any of these norms. She didn't tell him any of these things about like the finances and their culture and what they expect there. And he's all the way over here, no pamphlet about the culture, no knowledge about anything. Like, I think something should be given. I know that it's it's your responsibility as an individual. If you're going to go somewhere and try to date, you should know something about something. But also, if you're a matchmaker and you're taking in somebody from another country, like, where's the pamphlet? I need to know. Where is the pamphlet? I don't really know if Mark knows what he wants because it cuts to a confessional and he says something like, "I thought that women here like valued or appreciated family over material things." And it's like, that is exactly why you're expected to be the sole provider, because they do appreciate family over material things. Women in the United States work because we want to buy our own material things, like not because we love our family. Like, we love our family, but we would stay home more if we didn't care as much about material things here in America. Like, that is exactly what it is he's looking for. He just can't foot the bill to do it. And so I don't know. Another thing that I noticed, which makes me roll my eyes even more about Mark Chad, is like, what is this man wearing? He knows that he's about to go on his first date in Morocco. He's in a full-on regular t-shirt. It's all stretched out, like beyond repair. It's got this weird stretchy thing right here, all thin. You can tell it's been washed 500 times. And it's got these like sunglasses on it. It says shady. I'm like, you couldn't come up with something better to wear than the stretched out t-shirt and your like weird cargo shorts. It reminds me of those guys who are always ruining women's photos, like bridal photos, engagement photos, baby photos, things like that. Women are dressed up, the kids are dressed up, and dude shows up in like a stretched out white t-shirt and cargo pants. Like, please, you guys, do better. Please. All the Mark Chads. just do
all the men out there that are wearing these outfits with professional photography around.
I know. Like, get it together. So next we get Natalie. And she's back at the pool with her date, Stewart. And he wants to get in the pool. So Natalie's a little worried.
He hopes that she's open to either like a one-night stand or a long-term relationship. And I'm just thinking, you have no idea who you're dealing with. She is freaking out in her head right now.
It's like as soon as they get up there, he gets them a couple of drinks. And she does say, like, that she thinks he's living up to everything that she was looking for with Colombian men. She's just not sure if she's really ready for that. So once he comes up, he takes basically all of his clothes off and jumps in the pool. And she does not know what to do with herself. She doesn't know where to look. She doesn't know what to say. Yeah, I mean, that's it. He's just swimming around and she's freaking out.
So then after Natalie, we go to Harold and his makeover. And he meets his makeover artist, Petra. And he tells her that he hasn't been shopping in at least 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, and she did good at being really gentle with him and really kind, but also direct at the same time.
See? Okay, no, just no, okay? So we'll say goodbye to this.
Yeah. Katerina says in her confessional, her iconic line is, she wants Harold to be judged by what's inside and not how terribly he dresses.
I think that that's actually really valid too, because people will judge you right away when you dress kind of funny like he does. And he has a lot to offer, and people will, I think, write him off just because he dresses a little bit funny. But they get him into some more like basic, like age appropriate, I guess, kind of clothing. And he does seem to like it enough. And I think Katerina was right. He looks just more approachable this way.
Katerina does tell him that he's going to be going out with a woman named Michaela, and she thinks that she's going to be good for Harold.
And he's excited about her. He does a little happy dance when he hears that she's also into like sci-fi and games. And Katerina describes her as a little bit nerdy too, in a loving way. So he's very excited. It says, it cuts to him and he says, I need a 10, a score, a win. So, and he does. He needs a 10 to score a win.
So now we are off to what I believe is the best part of this episode, which is Stanika.
First, we have Stanika, but we meet her in the hotel right away where Nina is meeting up with her so they can go on this date. And we get another little clip of her nervous singing, and she says good morning to Nina, and she's like, good morning.
You know, I haven't seen her do any of her nervous singing with Nordine, so I think that might be a good sign, because last episode didn't see it.
You're right. Yeah. And she spent a lot of time with him doing things that were out of the norm for her, like trying, kind of different foods and drinks and things like that. And you're right, no singing.
Food and drinks. It was goat head and like a weird mystical shot.
It was.
Sure. We'll call it that. Nina claims that this date's going to be like her date with Nordine, which I don't know how she can say that when Nordine spoke almost perfect English. So
that's so true.
She starts out by saying that this guy doesn't speak English, but Nordine is a tour guide and speaks perfect English. There's no way this date's going to be like with Nordine. There's just no way.
And I think Stanika really knows this deep down. She says she's not really sure she wants to go on this date, but she's trusting the process. She's only here for so long, and Nordine's not available right now. So she does a little mini meditation in the car and just says, like, this date will be successful. And, I think it needs all the good karma it can get because it's about to get a little crazy. Nina and Stanika and the translator, they're all sitting there at the family restaurant, and they're all nervous as hell. You can tell right away, even just before he gets there, the vibe is kind of off. Nina is like, I'm going to sip my juice. Like, nobody really knows what's going on, but you could tell they're all really nervous. And the dude isn't even there yet. So not good vibes starting off.
When he does come out, he does bring flowers, which is nice, but he weirdly comes out from the back of the restaurant.
He's hiding them behind his back. Like a samurai. But those are like some $5 gas station flowers or something. You can tell they're all like wrapped in some like cellophane or something. And there's like 7 flowers in there. And I bet you that's why he was late. He probably was like had to hop 2 stores down so that he could go and get those flowers for her.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed with his weird song and dance about the flowers.
Maybe. It was crazy though, because he comes out with these flowers, he sits down. And the things that Stanika says about him were hilarious.
First impression when I see Solid is muscular, perfect hair, I guess, low pants. I mean, a nice package, a nice thing, yang.
Apparently, she could see his package because she knew he had a big thing.
Yeah. But yeah, he had some little pants, as Tanika said.
But what got me was when the brother just randomly showed up.
Yeah, so the brother, he just like pops in like some kind of robot. He like comes in. Hello, I'm here to ask you questions.
And so the brother was asking her questions about like why she's using a matchmaker and if she's the one to blame for her relationship troubles. And Sonika could not get over the fact that he would even think to ask her if she was the problem.
I know. She said, why? Like, why would you ask that? Because I did think that it was a little weird that he would ask that. And he said it was such a straight, blank stare. Like, don't you think maybe you're the problem? I don't really see that. I mean, maybe he's referring to, are those the type of people that you put yourself around? That's the only way that I could see that even really making sense, because if someone's a cheater or a liar, that's not your fault that someone cheats and lies to you.
I'm not sure how their way of life works out there, so it's hard to tell if he's just being mean or if he really don't trust her, or he's just not with it, or he's trying to sabotage this date, or the producers gave him a list of questions, or I don't know.
Yeah, as that whole awkward interaction is going on, pretty much right after that, his mom and dad shows up. And what's crazy to me is the mom shows up with the same gas station side market flowers, the same exact ones, wrapped in the same cellophane, same color, same 7 flowers and everything. So I was just, I don't know. It just got weirder and weirder this date. And mom gives her a hug and I think like tries to give her like a kiss on the cheek or something. And, you know, I don't know. It just felt like the mom thought that they were going to get married like the next day.
Yeah, it's very sweet, especially if it was something that was happening a few months into a relationship. But the first thing the mom is saying is she was welcoming her into the family. And I don't think any of this stuff even got translated to Sonika, but the son that she's having a date with is really upset and takes her out back. And Sonika's interpreting it as they're getting into a fight and she doesn't like the way he's treating his mom. But what's funny is when he gets up to leave, he tells the interpreter, tell them what's going on. And the interpreter just says, he'll be right back.
Well, you know what? I don't know if anyone really knows what's going on at this point. Like, it doesn't seem like it was announced to anybody that his parents were going to show up anyways. And so for the mom to just show up and be like, hey, like, welcome to our family for the first 20 minutes of meeting each other. Like, I did think he had a reason to be a little embarrassed with his mom and embarrassed for sure.
Yeah.
I felt for the translator too, because it's like, what do you translate? Like, he didn't tell her what was going on. When you're a translator, you're supposed to translate what's being said and not add anything else, or you're just a part of the conversation. So I don't know what she was supposed to interpret.
He just appears to be upset with her and embarrassed, which I don't blame him, but it's just funny to me that he's like, tell her what's going on, and then doesn't say anything to tell her. And then this translator turns around and is just like, he'll be right back.
Sonika is done. I think she's shaking her head no by the end of the scene, like looking at Nina, like almost to me, the body language seemed like, you know, we got to get out of here. Like, this isn't going to work out. That date was trash. That date was scary. It was chaotic. There was way too many people involved in that first date for it to even feel like a first date.
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
So then we get next time, and we have Mark Chad is gonna go on his first date in what looks like the desert. So we'll see how that goes. And then we have Susan is back. We didn't get Susan this whole episode, so she's back. She's gonna go on another date. I think with, is it Carlos that one has her?
Yes.
Yep. So she's going to have her Carlos date.
The only thing I remember from the previews is that Carlos said he can break down her walls.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how he does with that, because he's not wrong. Susan does have a lot of walls that need breaking. So then we have Natalie. We're going to see her talk to Juan about her first date and how all of that went. They're going to play pool together and just kind of chat. We'll have Sonika finishing off her date too. And we do see from the previews that she does see the date through. She ends up on the back of this guy's bike. To me, he looks like he's driving really recklessly and irresponsibly, but some people might enjoy that. I don't know. So I don't know. She was screaming. That's it.